Hello, welcome back to part 2 of your career goals. Now that you've figured out what your opportunity is, you've recalibrated, you've rebranded, you prepared for the opportunity that you've prayed for. Now you've rested, recalibrated, and reset. Now it's time to run. How do you run? You are going to pass your baton on to your team, eliminating the activities that you no longer need to do and put your hands to. I told y'all already, I'm the crazy person that understands how to put all these things together. So because I understand in my mind that the network works in my brain, I sometimes don't like the idea of sitting down and writing out things to give to other people because that's time away from me. But this is your shift. You are now going to start writing out the plans and creating the templates that you're going to be able to pass off to the people that are on your team. There's a application called Monday that you can use in order to pass these things over to your team. It's another application called Notions that you can create a calendar, all of this kind of stuff. You can get all your people on Notions and then you just pass over the assignment for that week. Assignment for what it is. And then it's a guy named Nate G. I'm gonna call him Nate G because I can't remember what his last name is. And he has a clickable planner, organized planner that you can go through this application and dictate your task, your goals for the year, your goals, and you can set this up and then just pass it over to whoever is your assistant, your virtual assistant. Now you've got AI on your computer with Copilot that you get the full subscription of Copilot. It will be your automated assistant. Now, here's a caveat for that. God has yet to tell you what the fullness of the word is, but I'm going to be coming back in relation to this, talking about the AI thing. So stay tuned in relation to that, because it's something that's still bugging me about this. Now you're going to delegate these assignments, creating the task management, all of this kind of stuff. I went to college for task management. That was part of my degree that I had added on as my not undergrad, but yeah, management assistant. So yeah, I understand about this. So you're going to delegate these tasks so they are eliminated off of your plate and they've been delegated to who they're supposed to. This is why you have the team, the board, the people that are rightly aligned for what it is that you're going to be creating, because you ain't going to be able to put your hands in all the places and still be present for what it is you're supposed to be doing, being present for your family, being present for, you're going to have to delegate. So you need to start praying now, as according to Numbers 11 and 17, for God to pour out His Spirit on those people that are supposed to be aligned with you, for what you're going to be putting your hands to. So that when y'all come together in prayer, come together in working together, come together in the fullness of what God desires, you will go forth and subdue. And be able to create and develop what's needed and necessary in order to then, therefore, come in with your financial goals. What I noticed a lot of people doing at the beginning of the year was the fact that they were putting out their plan for the year. What is your plan for your year? How are you planning it out? There's different types of tools that you can use in order to plan out and ask yourself what it is that you want to be planned out. What's your goals for the year? Because I already did that. How are you breaking down those goals? How are you asking yourselves the right questions to get the right answers so that you are then therefore performing your micro steps in order to be able to see the manifestation? What's your financial goal for the end of the year, and how do you plan to reach that goal? People start talking about money and they start, sorry. If we as children of God could go in the grocery store, Julie Whitaker says this all the time. If you go to the grocery store, smile at the people, and just walk past the cash register without paying, then that would be one thing. But you can't do that. You have to pay. And look at how much food prices have inflated as of lately. But blessed be to God, and let me prophesy this right now. Remember that in the scripture where it talks about that it got so bad that people were killing their children to be able to eat, that the prophet prophesied and turned around and said, by this time tomorrow, everything will be worth a shekel. Let me tell you something. For the children of God, this may not be for the rest of the world, but for God's children, he's going to cover them as according to his word that states, 1,000 shall fall at your side, 10,000 at your right hand, but nothing shall come nigh you. That the rest of the world may be in suffering financially and eating and being able to take care of themselves in the food process. But your scenario is going to look like the latter part of that verse that says everything going to be worth a shekel for you, because the favor of God is going to be on you. But you ain't even going to have to worry about that. So you can take that finance and focus on what it is that you need to focus on for what God's calling you to walk into. And you need to look at, God highlighted some things to me in relation to things going on in 2020. And the food service industry, I talk about food all the time. You may not see it on this channel, but I'm always talking about food. I'm always looking into food, which reminds me, I'm supposed to give y'all, I got a list I was looking through my back office of my playlists of like top videos. I'm gonna give y'all a list of the videos of good recipes, health recipes, removing belly fat, low carb diets, all that kind of stuff for your health, so you can run this race. We in a race, y'all, so that you can meet those financial goals that you are setting. But let me give you a quick way to set up your financial goals. I need you to figure out, put a number in your brain. I'm going to pause for a moment to let you think. What number? I want you to think big. The bigger the better. Of what would be your income goal. I need you to think hard on this income goal. Let that first number, because what the enemy does is you will think of the first number that comes to your brain, and the enemy will come in and say that's too big. What does it say in the word as according to Ephesians 3:20? Exceedingly abundantly greater than you could ask for or think. So even the highest number that you can think of that you would want to receive, God can outdo that. Let me tell you something. I was listening to a pastor that I listened to, love you, Apostle Youngblood. He was talking about the fact that there is such a number, and I want you to go look this up. I am not lying. It's called a dodecadillion. I'm going to repeat that. Dodecadillion. You think that the numbers we see, I think the highest number we've ever seen in mathematical amounts is $1 trillion. I need you to go look up dodecadillion. Dodecadillion is a 1 with 31 zeros. I'm going to repeat that. I did not stutter. 31 zeros behind it. God can do exceedingly abundantly more than what you ask or think. We are afraid to even ask for $1 trillion, let alone a dodecadillion. It's like you can bet God on that number just because. Now, some people will be like, we shouldn't pray about money. It's not good to pray about money. Oh my God, you're praying about money. There are things that you need in order to get done what God needs for you to do. And God gave me a revelation that was what the Pharisees was coming against him for. He was setting people free financially. But it was in accordance to that time frame. Remember, he told the person to go get the coin out of the fish's mouth, pay his taxes, and his own taxes, and then save the rest. Which means whatever it was that was in that fish's mouth was enough to cover all of it. Meaning that was a highly established coin. Meaning it was one of the top tier coins financially. Everybody's in there talking about Jesus was broke. Jesus was poor. Jesus was wearing the finest garments. Excuse me, what are we talking about over here? Financially, God was set up. I need you to think of the top number that is a top number for you. And then I'm going to need for you to backwards track. Now, for a high level number, understand God's not going to give you that high level number in a year. Is it possible? It's potential. But he probably won't give it to you in a year, but he's going to start pouring out to you increments in which you can withstand season by season. Because he blesses you 30-fold, 60-fold, and 100-fold. And folding is, I keep telling y'all, I told you this before, a fold is folded 3 times. So whatever that number is, think of, if it's a 30-fold return you're looking for, that's 30 times 30 times 30. If it's a 60-fold return, that's 60 times 60 times 60 of the number. 100-fold, that's 100 times 100 times 100. And then as according to Deuteronomy 11:1, that's 1,000-fold. That's 1,000 times 1,000 times 1,000. So what's to say that God won't give it to you? He just going to give you stewardship, that he going to give you a little in this level, and then he's going to increase it to the next one, then he's going to increase it to the next one, he's going to increase it to the next one. And he's going to keep multiplying it until you reach your goal. So maybe you do want $1 trillion. Well, can we set out to get $1 million? What does that look like? $42,000 a month. For a year. How are you creating that $42,000 a month for a year? What are your incremental micro steps to getting to that $42,000? And what are you going to have to use that for? Are you hiring in employees? Are you doing commissionary work? Having people come in on commission, and there's seasonal employees that they'll be in for a season, but you're setting up contract with them. Understanding if you were setting up contract with them, what would you want to pay them, to pay them fairly? Because look at minimum wage. Minimum wage has not been all that great. You want to give them a high paying by hourly rate. Maybe you won't give them $35 an hour. I remember a friend of mine, I was having a conversation. She said, if I got $35,000 an hour, I'd be good. That's why I use $35 an hour. For hourly, for the week, and then for the month. But if you're trying to reach $42,000 monthly, that you're paying each employee, and then you're doing payroll, and it's an application for payroll that I saw recently on television. I forgot to write it down. That you can do for payroll. And you're situating how you would do your payroll for these individuals. To pay them fairly for what they're going to do in order to crank out what needs to be cranked out for you to make your $1 million a year. And then next year, plan for $10 million a year. Following year, plan for $100 million a year. You see how that works? So that God can increase you more and more by the workings of your hands. Make a financial goal. And don't come yelling at me, oh, God didn't release the finances in it. Well, for one, if you made the financial goal, understand there's an enemy that comes against your finances called poverty. How are you praying and covering that area of your life so that the enemy doesn't steal, kill, and destroy you financially? Because that's the direction in which he desires. Because as soon as you make the declaration and you write it down and you sit there and you take your zones of genius and then you write out the financial plan of what that is. And this is something legacy wise. So if you calling for $1 million a year, $1 trillion, which is your goal, then you're going to look at how that's going to spread over all of these zones of genius that you are called to walk in. What's that goal? You can't tell me that it can't be done because Tiffany Montgomery makes $10 million a month. With the taxes to prove it. She always talks about that. I got the taxes to prove it. She says she pays $1 million in taxes. Let your goal be to pay $1 million in taxes. Hello. Because you got the money to spend. Am I making sense here? What's your goal for your giving? I told y'all before about the book where the guy says, live off the 10 and give away the 90. There's another book you can look at. How are your giving goals? It's another book called The God Pocket. And then that author that wrote The God Pocket, it was another book that he did that I loved that book. Who is your financial mentors? I've been meaning I'm going to have to start looking back up Minister Flex Anderson because he talks finance all the time as a minister. What's your financial goals? Write 3 out. Then I need you to go look in your house and see, hey, what am I good at? Do I know how to mix butters, lotions, shea butters, hair formulas? How can I make my own? How can I make my own scrubs? How can I make my own this? Look at all of the things that you like. Maybe you're a cook. You like to cook. How can I start making food? What is that going to look like if I made a business on food? Blah, 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 blah. Write down those goals. And then because you made those goals, how much you going to bring in for each of those businesses? Multiply it. You're going to go from multiplying the understanding of what it takes to get each one of those sets of money. Begin with the end in mind because you're going to look at the amount and then you're going to backtrack what you're going to make monthly, what you're going to make weekly, and what you have to make daily in order to support that. You know, these multi-million-dollar corporations, they upscale their prices not just because of the name and the brand, but because they got to pay them employees. You're paying their salaries because of that. And then you got to understand that you're going to break that record because God's going to do it. But the key is when you set these financial goals, what's going to immediately happen to you, and I know from experience, is when you set this goal, you're going to feel an automatic pressing of oppression. It's going to hit your head. That it's like that old saying. You ever heard that saying that you'll come up with $1 million idea in the shower and talk yourself out of it by the time you reach the door to get out the bathroom? I'm going to need for you to pray against your own unbelief. Because when you start praying against your own unbelief, you will be able to break the assignment that is coming against your mind that is trying to prevent you from walking into these things, operating in the consistency and operating in sabotage that, because it operates in a level of sabotage with your unbelief, so that you aren't going to remain consistent and tenacious to maintain what's necessary in order to achieve that goal. And you have to listen to God, because if you have a high level number, God's going to prep you in your valley to be able to withstand and hold that number. Because for every amount of money that you're going to get, there's going to be a principality and a power that's going to want to steal it from you. They looking for ways, mentally, emotionally, physically, spiritually, socially, financially, to steal it from you. Through your eye gates, through your, and you would say nasal passages. Yes, they'll have you smell something. And it's funny, I was looking at something the other day, and there are people, think about New Age, when it comes down to, they do like hookah and all that kind of stuff. You start smelling stuff. Even the smell is a way of bewitchment in order to turn certain things on in your brain. Turn on. You see how that works? Taste, having you eating up your finances that should have been going to something else. Hearing, what you're hearing, maybe it's good information, maybe it's horrible information. And you coming into agreement with something that was not of God, which therefore is delaying, deterring, and derailing what it is you're supposed to be putting your hands to. And what else? Your hands. It's going to come against your hands. You know, I literally, you see that finger right there that's bent? I can't unbend that. It will not unbend. Why? Because I broke my finger. And it makes it difficult for me to put my hands to certain things. Because this finger, if pushed one way or the other, it hurts. There's weakness in my hands. The enemy's going to come against your hands to be able to getting those things done. He's going to come against your feet. I got a bad ankle now. Because I know where I'm called to be. And now I understand. Oh, that's why he came after that ankle. And when you get those types of attacks, praise God for the healing. And you keep moving. Do what you can with what you got in this season, so that God can promote you and give you more in the next one. Be a good steward of what you have. Because if you move towards it, God's going to meet you in your movement. Abraham had to get up and leave his father's house. He had to get up and go where he needed to go. You're going to have to get up and go where God's telling you to be, in order for you to see the manifestation of what God's calling you to walk into in this season. Anything coming against you, you pray against it. You pray the victory of God. God is going to make me at peace with my enemies. Proverbs 6, I think, and 7. Is it 6 and 7? No, it's Proverbs 16, 6 and 7. God's going to give me victory in this battle. Battles won I didn't have to fight. Sometimes you're going to have to dance in the glory of your victory, because you already did it. You already got it. No matter what came against your mind, your body, or your spirit, bless Jesus, God broke it. You pray against that thing, and in the midst of you praying against that thing, you dance into your victory, and then you keep it moving. Moving towards the manifestation of what it is God called you to walk into. Come on now. Come on now. So, I've covered everything. I think I hit every point that we needed to hit in order to give you the tools to equip you to make 2024 your victory year. So come on now. Let's do this. Let's go. Take everything I gave you. Do the work. You're going to see the manifestation of the word of God for 2024. But are you doing the work? How are you doing the work? Because when you prepare for it, God will bless the workings of your hands. But you got to be working on your hands on something. What you doing? What we out here doing? Oh, okay. So I'll see you soon. Much love, faith, peace, and blessings to you. Bye-bye.